Good evening, Garden City. I'd like to call to order City Council meeting for Monday, May 18th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Our first order of business is our opening ceremony, which consists of the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for those service members who have given their lives for our country. If you'd please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Smith, if you'd take roll, please.
Mayor Jacobs.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dold.
Here.
Councilmember Hughes.
Here.
Councilmember Witt.
Here.
Councilmember King.
Here.
Councilmember Dold.
Here.
Councilmember Karafotis.
Here.
You have a quorum of 7.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first, next item is item 4, approval of the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilmember Witt.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Monday, May 18th council meeting agenda as presented.
Support. Brian, do we have to,
I'll do that during the consent agenda.
okay. Mayor Pro Tem, discussion from table? From the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Next item is item 5, recognition. Best part of our meetings. Reverend, Pastor Parker, for those of you that may not know Pastor Wayne Parker here, he has been the pastor at Merriman Road Baptist Church for about 30 years. And so he's retiring. So we got him a plaque, and I'll read the plaque and then give him some, actually, I'll give some of your accomplishments in your storied career here. He's led the church for 30 outstanding years. He has provided leadership, guidance, support, and encouragement to over 40 new churches in Metro Detroit and Windsor, Ontario since 2013. Pastor Wayne has made sure that the future leaders are prepared and ready to lead into the future years. Pastor Wayne has been involved in many community events and organizations supporting the Garden City community, which I, myself, and council personally want to thank you for. I want to congratulate you on your 30 years. And I was at service yesterday, and kind of a personal note, when I first got elected a few years ago, one of the first phone calls I got was from Pastor Wayne, which kind of startled me. It's like getting called out when your dad calls you. But so we met. He wanted to meet, and we met, and he just wanted to talk and discuss Garden City and wish me luck and pray for me. And I greatly appreciate it, and I still remember that to this day. So thank you for that. And now on the plaque, it says, Wayne Parker, pastor, Merriman Road Baptist Church, October 20th, 1996 to May 17th, 2026. Thank you for nearly 30 years of faithful service and dedication to the congregation of Merriman Road Baptist Church and the residents of the city of Garden City, Michigan. The City Council of Garden City thanks you for your commitment to spreading the gospel and wishes you the best of luck in your retirement. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mayor, I just express my thanks to you and to council for the recognition. It's just a joy to be able to serve in a community like Garden City. We came, I grew up in Westland, but we'd been serving in Big Rapids for a number of years. And so it felt to us, even though it's Metro Detroit, Garden City had a small town feel because you could get to know your teacher, your kids' teachers, the school district, and the leaders. And we have just enjoyed being able to serve here and the opportunities to serve with the city. And you guys have been very generous to invite us to participate at Christmas events, parades, and whatnot. But
We appreciate you coming.
and we've enjoyed being able to serve together.
Well, thank you very much.
And when I told you that I'd be praying for you, I wanted you to know I meant it, and I continue to do so.
I need it. Thank you.
All right, God bless.
There you go. Pastor? Again, congratulations to you and Cindy. At this time, we'll take a short recess for anybody that does want to stay for all the exciting stuff to come. Okay, and the meeting is now back in session. We're up to item 6, and I don't see any state or county officials. We have no presentations. We do have a couple community events. Mr. Smith, give it to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If the temperature up here isn't enough of a reminder, I was reminded that it is nearly June, so we have a couple community events coming up the first week of June I'd just like to give a little information on. The first one we have is our Community Shred Day. So Community Shred Day will be Saturday, June 6th here at City Hall in the parking lot from 10 until 1. Traditional setup, just come in off of Central. We'll unload your shred and we'll take care of that. We will take up to 5 cardboard banker's boxes or paper grocery bags worth of shreddable documents, and we'll shred those for you free of charge. We are also going to be doing our prescription drug take-back event there. Just please, no liquids or sharps, but we will take those back, and we will also be collecting donations for the food pantry as well. So just one stop, just pull on up, we'll unload everything for you and take care of you. We do ask that you just are in line by 12:45. The next event is also the first week of June, Thursday, June 4th through Sunday, June 7th. We have our citywide garage sale. So during that 4 days there, we have waived permit fees. You can hold a garage sale free of charge. No need to get a permit from us, but we are asking if you'd like your name, your address included on our map that we're posting on the website. Stop by the clerk's office between now and June 1st. We'll have you fill out the permit there, just so we can keep a record of the addresses so we don't miss anybody on the website. I was working today building the first map, so we'll probably have our map, the initial one, live by the end of this week, but we are going to be adding addresses up until June 1st. So if you'd like your address on there so people know that you're having a sale, let us know by June 1st, and we'll get it on there for you.
Thank you. Okay, next, we do have a communication from the Garden City Business Alliance. I'll call the president, Ms. Jackie Peridor, up.
Hello, Mayor and Council. We have some very exciting things going on, and I wanted to share them. The first one is Thursday evening over at Radcliffe. We're going to have, it's a meeting to greet everybody, to feed everybody, but also a tour of all the new things put on by the Radcliffe Center for us. So we'll be able to see the new kitchen and all that fun stuff. So we got that, and that's this Thursday from 6 to 8. Then we've got Music in the Park coming up, which is Thursday, July 18th, let's start again. Thursday, June 18th, July 16th, and August 20th. Should put the glasses on, right. Okay, this year we're asking for some volunteers, and just like the chili cook-off, where we're going to pay the volunteers, we're asking for a few volunteers to help us, and we will pay them. The payment actually goes to their organization. So Goodfellows, Kiwanis, any local nonprofit, if you want to volunteer some time and earn some money for your cause. So that's coming up. And also the big thing that I'm here for, I'm so excited about, is the Garden City Business Alliance has now partnered up with Parks and Rec, and the Parks and Rec Commission has approved that the Garden City Business Alliance is now going to sponsor the pavilion over at Garden City Park, the main pavilion. So that means we can help infrastructure. We can help if there's peeling paint, if there's something, we can help take care of these problems. What we're working on right now is the electrical. The electrical over there has needed upgrading for some time. We're very, very close to getting all of our estimates and possibly having the electricity upgraded prior to June's Music in the Park. So I'm very excited about that, and I just wanted to share. So that's all. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, great news. Okay, item 10 is a public hearing, and I will call, it's on the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and I will call up Mr. Tim Wilson from Hennessy Engineering. I believe he's got a presentation for us.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. I'm here on behalf of Hennessy Engineers. My name is Tim Wilson, work for the City Engineers. We are going to give a quick presentation on the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund project plan that we are in progress of completing. I'm going to run through a quick overview, some of the drinking water quality programs that are going to be addressed, project plan timeline, a quick scope, some costs, and some social and environmental impacts that go along with this. So a quick overview of what this DWSRF loan program is a low interest loan program that's through Eagle. Basically, it's a 20-year loan and is typically at a 2% rate. What this does is it assists with funding the water distribution system improvements in the city, water main replacements or rehabs, water treatment plant improvements, pump station improvements, storage tanks, and mainly, the main one these days is the lead service line replacements within the water systems. So the final project plan will be due by the end of the month, and we will get that turned in. A quick note on the lead and copper rule changes, and this is where I mentioned about the service lines. Eagle lead and copper rules were amended and adopted in June 2018. Lead and galvanized water service lines must be replaced in their entirety from the water main to at least 18 inches inside of the home. So some of the water quality problems that are going to be addressed is Garden City must replace 5% of lead and galvanized water service lines over a 20-year period, and that ends in 2041, so we've already started this. Lead action levels actually just got changed from 15 parts per billion and reduced to 12 parts per billion by 2025. Additional water sampling has been required, and a preliminary inventory of water services was submitted to Eagle in 2020, and a final inventory was submitted in October 2025, and this is revised every 5 years thereafter. So we're in the middle of doing this, and this is just another part of it. On this specific one, we don't have water main replacements, but these are always rolling over and could be part of any future one, so we like to touch on it. A lot of the current water mains were installed back in the 1940s and 50s. Most of these mains are kind of past their useful life, which is about 75 years. A lot of calcium buildup in the lines. This decreases the amount of water that is able to move through the pipe and resulting in low water pressure. So for the current 2027 DWSRF program, like a quick timeline is we've submitted the intent to apply form, we submitted our draft plan and got approved, we posted for the 10-day public comment period, and now here we are doing the public hearing on 5/18. Once this is over, we'll submit our final project plan by June 1st, and if the loan is approved, loan closing would take place in August of 2027. So why DWRS? As part of the DWSRF loan, Garden City may be eligible for principal forgiveness. In prior years, not all proposal received could be funded and could wait on the contingency list for several years. Quick map is shown of the supposed locations. So no action. Allow the water distribution to operate in its existing conditions. If that's what we did, continued water main breaks and lead service line leaks as water systems continue to deteriorate with age are things you'll run into. Disruption of service to residential and commercial properties, costly repairs, additional labor hours required by Department of Public Works Services, and non-compliance with current lead and copper rules, like I stated before. So the proposed projects, all projects will have the possibility to receive principal forgiveness. Due to the new lead and copper rules, full service replacement would take place as one project. So I guess how the forgiveness works is for this current one, we are forgiven 50% of it in grant money. So on the summary of the costs, the total estimated project cost is $1.2 million, and we're up for 50% forgiveness, which if that is the final project cost would be $600,000. So then another quick summary about how these costs may affect the residents. Like I said, the total estimated cost, that includes engineering, construction inspection, QA, QC testing, would be $1.2 million. There's approximately 11,602 customers in the city. An annual debt service required at 2% interest over that loan period I spoke of earlier is calculated at $72,847 per year. So this would result in a user cost of about $6.27 per year, or 52 cents per month. And like I said, because half of it is a loan and half of it is a grant. So that's where those costs are coming from. The next steps are to submit the final project plan no later than June 1st, approve the project, and place it on the project priority list in August of 2026. And then social environmental impacts. There is a lot of positive long-term effects to the DWSRF. Reduced number of water main breaks with an updated system, reduction in water loss, more reliable water distribution. You're complying with those lead and copper rules, and you're getting rid of all those lead service lines so that there will be no more homes in the city getting their water through a line made out of lead. And then some of the negative impacts go along with simple construction projects. There's some short-term inconvenience of noise, temporary lane closures, temporary water loss, private property access, construction equipment and stockpiles, dust and particulate matter, anything you would see from any normal construction project in progress. And then now I just would like to open up to any questions that people may have.
Mr. Givens, do you have anything to add before we, questions or the public hearing?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Mayor,
Councilmember Karafotis.
just to reiterate, so this is something that we're required to do by the state. We already started doing the lead change-outs a couple years ago, so we're already ahead of the game. Any idea how many are left or how far we are in?
Yeah, so I was speaking with, and we have approximately 250 more known. We do have a current project going, and we're already getting approved for a project that's going out to bid soon as well. So that number is changing as those get completed, but there's about 250 known leads, and there's 350 unknown homes. And I was informed, speaking with Brad, that it would be we could probably safely say about half of those based on where they are in the city and where they were built. Probably at least half of those 350 are lead, if not more.
Do we need residents to still call and say whether they need checked or not? Or does everybody?
If they have not, yeah, if they haven't had their house done in these last few years that we've been doing the program, that is helpful. I know one of the harder parts about this program has been the scheduling and getting responses.
And do you actually have to go into the home to find out if it's lead or not?
Most times, yes. yeah, you have to check inside, and I know it's unfortunate, but
So residents can just call the DPS to say, hey, I want my pipes checked to see if they're lead.
if they, yeah, because if they want to be like the next on the list, they can definitely call in and probably get scheduled pretty quickly. Because
Okay.
we have an ongoing one now, and they're going to keep going for a couple of years now.
Yeah, that's, my next question was how long do you think, say if it's
But-
another 300 or 400 homes, how long do you think before it's completed?
It all depends. So like this project, we have about 100. 100's pretty safe. You can do more in the summer. It all depends on the amount of money we get and whatnot. So I would say you could safely do at least 100,
Okay,
if not more.
thank you.
Yeah.
Further questions?
Mayor,
Councilmember King.
when you were going through the cost, the summary of the costs,
Yeah.
you mentioned 627 per year. Is that the most it would cost the resident? It's not factoring in the 600,000 forgiveness? Or that is factoring in the 600,000?
Does factor in, correct. Cal is also from Hennessy. He helped with putting the project plan together.
Yeah, this is increase in the cost of the water and sewage, you know.
But does that include the $600,000 grant?
No, it's not.
That is if we got no grant?
No, that's no grant.
That would be with no grant.
Okay, thanks. Yep, thank you. That's,
So
I see
really,
in the parentheses, you do have that clarified. It will be reduced if grant
Oh.
is awarded.
Yeah, okay, it's all right.
I did miss that, thank you. Councilwoman Doe.
Further comment, questions from the table?
Mayor,
Councilmember Karafotis.
is there any chance that the grant wouldn't get approved?
I don't believe so. What are the chances the grant doesn't get awarded?
That doesn't award it?
Yeah, we don't get the grant money.
Usually with, because this comes from the state for the replacement of lead service, you know, what happened in the Flint, you know. So usually with the lead services, most likely we're gonna get approved, and most likely it's gonna be 50% loan forgiveness.
Because they're requiring us to do it, so they're helping us pay for it, basically.
That's correct, and I know 2026, if you know, that has been 0.5%. 50% was principal forgiveness. So we got million something, and 50% is not gonna be principal forgiveness, which is 600,000. Well, this one, we're gonna come like, the loan closing will be in August. We don't put to bid yet, actually, one of the items in the,
Okay, so with the grant, it's going to be about $3 a year per resident.
with the, excuse me, Kenny?
That user number will cut in half if we get the 50%
The grant goes to about $3 a
Sure.
year that would cost our residents.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Any other questions before I open it to the public? Mayor
Mayor?
Pro Tem Dole.
do,
Councilmember Dole.
the 1.2 is an estimate, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, so how, any guess on what it could go up to?
So, we take an average, how much cost, you know, because, you know, when you do lead service replacement, that's including the copper replacement, the cutting the pavement, you know, to install, because you need a three area to do, like, where the water main to dig up and put the saddle there and connect that, and then
She's asking if we have a potential estimate of how high it could go above 1.2 million.
usually this is like, if you 1.2 million is about 11,000 each, which is, we didn't never see more than that, so, till now.
That's pretty
So
much,
hopefully-
okay.
We tend to estimate on the higher end.
Yeah, so
So
we
I
tend to.
can't promise you it won't, but it very often does not.
Okay, thank you.
But that's why, and then also that forgiveness, like, grant portion of it is based on a percent. That's why it's not held to the $600,000
Right.
number. It will
Okay.
be 50% of the project cost, yes.
Tem Dole. Councilmember Hughes.
Since it's, we're looking for approval for August of 2027 for that, are we going to be doing any homes from now until then?
So, yeah, so this is where it gets a little confusing. We're actually still finishing up the one from 24-25, currently bidding out the one for 2026.
Okay.
And this is a project plan for the future 2027. And we, based on the numbers, we're doing 100 and 100, and I just spoke about how we have at least 400 something left to do in the city. So So yeah, there are current ones going on
Yes, I
under a
thought.
different project number.
Okay,
That's been approved already. We're gonna do the
Right.
low plus.
Yeah, one of them, the project plan was approved and we're about to go out to bid. This is a project plan for the future one.
Right.
That will go out to bid next year.
thank you.
Questions? Okay, at this time, I will open up the public hearing on this drinking water state revolving fund proposed lead water service replacement project. Anybody wishing to speak from the public?
I had to figure it out online, but I didn't get too far. So it's a 1.2 million, $300,000 contingency fund makes it 1.5 million, $600,000 in interest makes it 2.1 million, and yeah, that's what it comes out as. Your figure is not mine. Anyway, I understand. I'm not against the project, but this also includes some of them where they have the most breaks in the water lines. You're going to replace the main or not?
Related to lead service replacement.
Yeah, this is just on the lead service.
So we always,
I know it's the lead service, but that's not the way it reads online. It says you got where there were most water main breaks, you're going to replace some of the water mains to reduce the breakage. You have areas where the pipe is so old, it's where you had the majority of your breaks.
There's the lead service.
No,
so we always apply every year to potentially get enough money to do water main projects and lead service lines.
But this is just for the lead
We
things.
got denied for the water main projects, but we're getting money for the lead service lines, which in order to
And you
stay,
need to change your own line, thing.
those need to be changed by 2041 regardless.
Yeah. Well, I thought this had included some of those, but that's the way I read it online.
This current project plan, no.
This is strictly for the water and lead.
This is just, this project plan will just have.
And this, and that's going to be paid for by me, how?
Yeah, but we anticipate that the rates we've already set will cover the dollars per year per residence. We don't anticipate any rate
Is it
increases.
going to be on the water rate? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, it's paid out of the water fund, the money we have to pay back, but we don't anticipate increasing any rates because of this. It can be encapsulated within
Well, I
our.
don't care if you do have to increase it, that's fine.
don't-
But I just want to know how you're going to do it.
So this is
It's a
basically.
flat rate for everybody.
It's a 20, well, it's built within our system will just be repaying the loan. So, yeah, it's spread across the entire system.
It's a straight pay, no millage.
No millage, it's coming out of what we're already paying, your water rates. This is just an opportunity to utilize a very, very low interest loan over a long period of
It
time.
ain't too low to me,
And,
$600,000.
well, it's, compared to what else we could do to have to do these things, we do have
You
to get
can't
this
shorten
fund
it?
by 2041.
You couldn't shorten the 20 years?
I don't think we'd want to. The 2% interest rate, given if you think about inflation, we're going to pay the cost today to get these things done, and
This is just like
our
the first
ability.
road bond thing for $250 million, and last year, more than half of it would go for interest. This is another one in boondoggles.
I wouldn't call it a boondoggle.
Yeah, it's a boondoggle.
Okay, this is more for comments, and then if we can answer the questions after, we will. Any further comments? I'll ask again, any further comments on this proposal? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Item 11 is the consent agenda.
Mayor,
Councilmember Witt.
I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda items A, 1, and 2 with removing item 3.
Or from Mayor Pro Tem Dold. Comments from table.
Want to tell the public why we're removing 3?
Due to an illness in our Treasury Department, we did not get our financial reports for the month of April 2026, so we could not receive and file them. So I would assume at the next meeting, we will receive and file April and May's. So that is why we are removing that tonight. Further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Action items. We have first item is the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Draft Project Plan that we just had a public hearing on. Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Dole.
I'd like to motion to adopt the resolution for a final project planning document for water system improvements and designating an authorized project representative.
Support.
Or from Councilmember King. We just heard most of the report, but any further comments or concerns from the council?
Mayor, I do have a question. With the, what happens if the property owner doesn't cooperate or let us in to do this? How does that work with the state?
You know, I maybe defer to the engineers, but I do believe that, you know, we can't force our way into your property to fix your lead service lines or do those. It actually requires a waiver for us to come in and do that. So they would just continue to have a lead service line during the course of that, unless there's some other opportunities during the state to change that. But really, I believe there.
Actually, it's a liability to the city to have lead service, and the resident should replace it no matter what. So it is their opportunity to replace by the city, paid by the city. Otherwise, they're gonna pay it by themselves if they don't accept it. It's required. Because the city has liability if there is if the residents get sick, whatever, because he had lead service, then it's a liability for the city because they didn't replace it. And he have to replace it, so.
So you're saying the city does have to force the residents to
Yes.
allow it?
They cannot enforce it, but they
yeah,
should replace it, though, that's the thing.
Well, they should, I agree, but I,
Yeah, they should.
okay.
But at this point in time, there's no actions being taken by the city to force anyone to replace these. If they, you know, if they choose not to at this point, at some point, it's very likely they will have to, but it's not facing them at this point. Right now, we're using voluntary allowance onto their property to repair the lead service
Would
lines.
that be at their own expense in the future?
That's a possibility. Our use of this type of funding is to, first, get lead off people's homes as quickly as we possibly can. It's not good for them. The state wants us to fix it. We've seen what happened in Flint. We want to correct that as much as possible. There is a tremendous amount of funding. Like for this, they're going to give $1.2 million, forgive $600,000 of it. So we're getting a $600,000 loan, and they're going to give us an extra $600,000 essentially. That's what has been occurring. This allows us to quickly get these leads out, so the harms that come from lead services going in are reduced at a very affordable rate for a municipality who struggles with water rates sometimes, and are allowed to get money from the state that basically is a, you know, they loan us $2 and forgive $1. We've got to pay $1, so really we're paying 50% at a very generous loan rate typically to remove these as quickly as we can, which we're required to do by 2041 at a pretty significant pace. So while the money is available, while the opportunity is for the city and really the state through us to get these lines removed, we're trying to take full advantage of that. Because at some point, yes, those lead lines do have to come out. It's not good for the health of the resident. But this is an opportunity, basically we're striking while the iron's hot, to remove as many lead service lines from the city of Garden City. It should help our property values. It's good for our kids, good for our residents, and
That's in another city, just for example, like they shut the water off if you don't want to use it. So
We're not doing it.
that's what we did in other cities. So.
we're nowhere plans to do that currently.
Okay, further comments from the table?
Mayor,
Councilmember Karafotis.
I think one of the things that Councilwoman Dole was talking about, we've had residents in the past that didn't want to sign the authorization for someone to come in because it said that if something was damaged, the city wasn't responsible. If someone doesn't want to sign that and let them in their house, do we have them sign something saying we offered it and you chose not to do it?
There'll be a record of the offer. I'm not sure exactly how they document that, but there's a record of every offer we make to a home to replace their lead service lines, and if they don't want to come in.
Who documents that?
Our DPW.
Okay, all right, that's all I had.
And I will say that we had it done, I believe, summer before last. Minimal disruption. They did a fantastic job. It just, you know, it was kind of like, okay, you're done. And it was fixed everything up, looked just like it did before they started, so.
I have a comment here. So some residents, they take it like they think, okay, I'm signing this, that's been any damage in the house. But the contractor is responsible for any damages of the house and what is existing before. So our contract, because all the contracts are insured, you know, so they are responsible for any damages that more than what existing condition was, you know?
Okay,
So just-
Thank you.
sense,
just
thank
explain
you.
that.
Any further comments from the table? From the public?
I just had a thought, since Realtor Brain. Is there a way for, once these homes are identified, that the list could be given to maybe the building department so that if a certificate of occupancy is pulled, ownership change, then that new person is notified that they need this done?
Yeah,
That way we're cross-referencing, that's all.
I'm sure there's records well kept, and if there's a change of ownership, I'm sure they will be notified. Okay, further comments from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item 2 is notice of intent to issue the state revolving fund bonds, and I'll call up our treasurer, Ms. Shannon Shepherd.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is the next step in the DWSRF process. This resolution authorizes the publication of the notice of intent to issue bonds. The bonds are going to be for in an amount not to exceed 1.5 million, and someone had asked earlier kind of like what we expect the cost to be. The project cost is 1.2, but we're asking for 1.5 in the bonds, just to kind of give us some flexibility in terms of contingencies or project scope differences or issuance costs and things like that. This also allows us to reimburse eligible expenses before the issuance of the bonds. And that is, this resolution includes the declaration of intent to reimburse, which allows us to get reimbursed for costs that we've incurred prior to the issuance of the bonds. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions from council? Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember King.
I move to approve the following resolution authorizing the publication of notice of intent to issue bonds and declaration of intent to reimburse.
Support.
Or from Councilmember Witt. Further discussion from the table? From the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Okay, item 3 is Benzinski and Company engagement letter, and I'll leave it to our treasurer, Ms. Shepherd.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This item is requesting the approval of an engagement letter with Benzinski and Company to serve as our municipal advisor for the issuance of these DWSRF bonds. If you guys recall, they were just approved last month to serve in the same capacity for our road bonds. They are very familiar with our city. We have a good relationship with them, so there's some value in the continuity using the same firm. For this project, their role is going to be to help us with the application and financing process. They will coordinate with Bond Counsel and Eagle and also ensure compliance for reporting at year end. The amount is for $13,500, and that is contingent on the successful closing of the bond. So if we don't close on the financing, then there's no fees incurred. If you guys have any questions, let me know.
Mayor,
Councilmember Hughes.
I'd like to approve the engagement letter with Budzinski and Company to serve as municipal advisor for the city's 2026 drinking water state revolving fund lead service line replacement financing, and to authorize payment of the issuance fee in the amount of $13,500 contingent upon closing of the financing.
Support. Or from Mayor Pro Tem Dole. Discussion from table. From the public. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Okay, item 4 is the appointment of our city attorney, Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you're aware, earlier this year, our City Attorney Kevin Bennett indicated his intent to retire this June, which kicked off a search for our next city attorney. We put out a request for qualifications, inviting law firms to offer packets to describe what the kind of services they could offer Garden City and the price and their qualifications and expertise. We reviewed those, narrowed down the firms to 4, conducted interviews, and asked specific questions based on those qualifications. We evaluated them based on several factors, including municipal law experience, cost structure, firm resources, interview performance, relevant expertise, and potential conflicts, if any. While all four firms we interviewed demonstrated excellent qualifications and capability to serve the city, the Kelly firm ranked the highest overall in the evaluation process. They have extensive and current municipal law experience, particularly in matters involving blight enforcement, dangerous buildings, and day-to-day municipal operations consistent with Garden City's needs. They service a number of communities within Oakland County and expressed a description of the way their services provide are similar to those we're looking for. Based on the overall evaluation, we believe the Kelly firm is best positioned to provide responsive, knowledgeable, and cost-effective legal services to Garden City, and I recommend their appointment as the city attorney. Nancy Olin from the Kelly firm is here today. I can invite her up just to say a few words, and she'd be available for any questions council might have.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City Manager, Clerk. My name is Nancy Olin, and I am representing the Kelly firm this evening. We are thrilled at the opportunity to be considered to be your municipal attorneys. We are headquartered in Royal Oak. We have a number of clients, cities, townships, counties across Oakland, Wayne, Lapeer, Macomb County. We have a 10-person law firm. Every lawyer in the law firm is a municipal attorney. We are well-versed in that, and then each of us have a specialized area that we work in, whether that's code enforcement, prosecution, labor and employment, development, whatever that is. We feel like we can cover all of those different areas for you. Very excited to be here, and if there are any questions that I can answer, I'll be happy to try to do that.
Council, any questions for Ms.
Mayor,
Sorry, who? Councilmember Karafotis.
what cities in Wayne County have you guys worked for?
We currently represent the city of Belleville in Wayne County. We represent the city of Pontiac, that is in Oakland County. Most of our clientele is in Oakland County. We are branching into Wayne County as well.
For the city manager, do we speak with any of the other cities that they do work for?
Yes. We received references, and I actually reached out to some other attorneys in the area who highly recommended Kelly firm.
That was it.
Thank you. Further questions or comments from the council? Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Witt.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of the Kelly firm as the city attorney.
Support.
Councilmember Hughes. Further discussion from the table.
Mayor.
Councilmember Witt.
As stated in my email, Mr. Gibbons, I just want to thank you for all the time that you put into this. I know interviews like this are not easy to conduct, especially going through packets of multiple different attorneys to narrow it down into that. So thank you for your time that you put into it.
Further comments from the table? From the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Item 5 is the appointment of Parks and Recreation Director, Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As Council is aware, in October of 2025, our then current Parks and Rec Director, Erica, went on to employed with the county. And at that point in time, I appointed Zach King as the interim director. I did so based on observing Zach's excellent administration of the communications and his involvement in all of the activities related. Radcliffe was at a pivotal moment, and we needed continuity in the leadership of the division of the Parks and Rec. We had a lot going on and a lot changing, and employees needed some stability. I thought Zach offered that at the time. At the time, I had an inclination that I thought he would perform well, but I wanted to sort of create a metrics to determine how his performance was going to go before we decided whether we were going to seek outside or not. Always intending essentially to see what the job market revealed for Parks and Rec, but at the same time give someone who knows our community so well and works so hard a chance to see if he could perform. I developed the metrics, and you'll notice the long recommendation letter I included in your packet. Really, I cheated. I just took my evaluations that I'd performed over the last few months, took the highlights, and included it in. All those categories I evaluated on, he excelled. Particularly, it's important for our Parks and Rec to be successful. It's to be affordable, it's to be efficient, and to be well used and provide an excellent value to our community. Over the the last, since October, Zach has demonstrated that, one, he is extremely capable administrator, and two, that our Parks and Rec has a great future. Our Radcliffe Center is essentially maxed out on hours and only going to add more as more and more program comes in. Our programs are full. The clientele, our groups that associate with Parks and Rec, particularly the Radcliffe Center, are thrilled. And from the budget side of things, we are greatly under our expected expenditures and greatly over our revenues, which we like to see. As of March, when he gave his budget presentation, we were actually in the positive, nearly 75% through the budget year. I can't ask for better than that. That's a tremendous turnaround from a division, particularly the Radcliffe Center, that was an expenditure we really had to address when I first came here and we had that budget shortfall. As I indicated back then, that was one of the main causes of a large chunk of our budget shortfall. I had to make a significant number of cuts to the expenditures of the Radcliffe Center and all of Parks and Rec, and despite that, I think it's performing better than it has even when we were expending more money on it. He's taken an entrepreneurial approach to Parks and Rec, which is exactly what I wanted, because our residents want Parks and Rec. They want great parks, they want great facilities, they want great programming, but we have to do it within a fiscally responsible manner, and the only way we can do that is with hard work and creativity and discipline on our financial side of things. Zach's done that. He has, numerous people have approached me and expressed confidence in him. So I wholeheartedly support the appointment of Zach King as our next Park and Rec Director. Just to add, for this vote, it's a required 5-person vote because of the relationship between our council member and Zach King. Our charter directly speaks to the possibility of employing a person who's related to a council member. It just requires an extra step to make sure our council sees the value in that appointment, and it requires that extra vote. So just point that out, and we'll do a roll call vote for the appointment. And at this time, I recommend his appointment.
Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember Witt.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Zachary King as the Director of Parks and Recreation.
Support from Mayor Pro Tem Dold. Discussion from the table. Councilmember Karafotis.
Our charter distinctly says department directors should be appointed solely on the basis of administrative qualifications, with special emphasis upon specialized training and background necessary for the proper functions and administration of each particular department. Except for the past several months as the interim, Zach has had no training or background in Parks and Rec. That doesn't mean that he hasn't done a great job turning things around. In the past, our previous city manager hired directors without the proper background, and we didn't require much from them in the past after they were hired. I feel those previous directors were just set up for failure because we didn't provide the training that they needed. I would like to see it stated in Zach's contract with the timeline that he gets certified as a Parks and Rec certified professional, and then following that he gets certified Park and Rec executive. I don't think going to school is too much to ask for this position, and I think Zach's very capable of getting those certifications. Zach is a young guy, he's in his 20s. I think managing employees is probably the hardest part of the job. But I think we should also require in his contract with the timeline that he attends continuing education in managerial training. The MME and the MML both have courses for municipal directors, and Wayne County Community College offers a supervision and management certificate, as well as administrative offices and management courses. I really don't want to see our next director set up for failure. We've had several in the last couple of years. We have someone that's doing really good, and I don't want to set him up to 6 months from now say, hey, he's not working out. So I think by requiring that education and those certificates, it's not setting him up for failure. So I'd really like to see that. I think Zach's done a pretty impressive job getting Radcliffe turned around financially. It's a huge benefit to our residents. He's done by adding programs that are successful. I would just like to see what he can do when he focuses just on Parks and Rec. I feel Zach kind of needs to just stay in his lane instead of helping every single other department. I think that if he concentrates on just the Parks and Rec, all of the Parks and Rec department, that amazing things are going to happen in our city. I think that if he focuses on just that, it's going to be great. Does the rest of the council agree that we should require the certifications required by our charter?
I do.
I personally, I'm not ready to require it. I would like to see him get it. Our previous directors had most of those qualifications and papers and certificates and everything else, and they all failed
Our charter requires it.
pretty much. But to do it, to require him and put it in a contract, I don't think it's necessary. I think he's doing a fine job, and I think he can, I think he'd probably be willing to do it anyways.
It's something that we should talk about, our staff having requirements for continuing education and be trained in the things that they're doing. And to say, okay, well, he can do it if he wants to. I think that's a disservice to our employees and to our residents when our charter requires that they have that experience and that certification. What does everybody else think?
If I could just add an informative, in my, it's a contingent job before upon appointment from the council. Specifically, the line we added was that the job offer and his employment is contingent upon his intent to continue to pursue certifications required for the position. But I do believe, based on our charter, that, Zach meets those qualifications. I do think we want a Parks and Rec director who is, well-versed in Parks and Rec and only continues to learn and grow in the position. But that is certainly a contemplation we had when we had a discussion about the job offer. It's that we expect the continued pursuit of all the necessary certifications that go with the normal Parks and Rec director.
I just don't feel saying that we expect it is enough. I think that our charter says that there's a special emphasis on specialized training and background necessary for the proper functions. Anybody else on council have a comment besides Kim?
Council have further
Mayor?
comments from Councilmember Hughes?
I think what she said was that it says, if you can read that first part again, that it emphasizes.
It says it should be appointed solely on the basis of administrative qualifications with special emphasis upon specialized training and background necessary in the proper function of this particular department.
Yeah, I think the key word is emphasis on this, and if the intent is for him to, acquire those certificates, because emphasis doesn't say must. It's, it's making it a priority to have that happen.
It should be a priority that everybody in charge of a department has the proper things. Our building department, we can't say that we can't have someone that doesn't have the building or the planning degree. They have to have that and be in charge of the building department. That's a state law. Now, granted, Parks and Rec isn't a state law, but I'm just saying,
Right.
This is going to set precedence for something further down the line, not just Zach. But, okay, we're not going to hire a police chief without him being a police officer. We're not going to hire
Well, we have other,
DPS without them having experience. We hired Brad because he had worked here for 30 years.
I was just going to bring up Brad, is that he doesn't have, there aren't any certifications that he needed.
Brad worked
to
here for
get that
30
done.
years before he was the water director, or before he
Well,
was.
so you're saying that it's not necessary, but now you're saying it is.
I'm saying that Brad has continuing education in his
Yeah,
department, for sure.
that's what I think the city manager is talking about, continuing education.
That's what I was talking about, continuing education.
And throughout time, even his short period as interim director, he's sought some certifications, received them. He already has, he is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree. There is a lot of certifications and things he is currently in the process of saying. And I would just say, someone who's worked for our city the number of years he has, shows, organizes the Santa Land Parade, does, any project around here on his own time, assists every community group we have, is a member of all of our community groups that are very relevant to the Parks and Rec field, Kiwanis, Rotary. He participates and assists them, the Community Coalition, all the pieces of this community that relies on so heavily. He's a member of it and has demonstrated excellence in the performance of being a member of all those places, including an excellent job as communications director, which is a department head in a municipal budgeting, municipal management of funds and personnel, and our communications division, and our technology. Everything I've asked him for, he's tremendously succeeded at, including this interim thing. And 8 months of experience, 7 months, 8 months of experience in the job where you've demonstrated that kind of performance, a turnaround was beyond my personal expectations. I believe certainly meets our charter's intent that this person can do the job and they have the requisite qualifications. I know of police chiefs who, while they haven't gone on to achieve degrees, have demonstrated proficiency in their jobs. I don't think it requires 20 years, I don't care 30 years. I just think that the person's efforts and their abilities demonstrated during the course of actually performing the job, having a piece of paper is excellent, and it demonstrates a certain type of competency, but physically performing the job in a manner that benefits our community of this tremendous value, I think more than meets the requirements of charter and gives us a great indication of what's to come. What I'll also say to this is my request for him to achieve those certifications, I know are taken seriously and will happen. I have the utmost confidence. And, as his boss and as the person who's making this appointment and continue to manage the city, I expect him to do so and will require him to do so. However, what I do also know is that we ask a lot out of people, and we push them to give us their best, and he gives us nothing but 100% to his best. So is he going to get them? Yes. Do I want to have something hanging over his head in the short term that he must, other he loses his job, or something like that? I feel I'm satisfied in the request that, yes, you agree to continue to pursue this. We'll stay on him. We'll make sure he has the ability to. But so often, especially in municipal government, something comes along and happens to our budget where I have to reduce staff suddenly. And now he's got to take up an extra role, but also he's putting his own job at the risk if he doesn't quickly get this certification. I would ask the council trust me to continue to administrate the city and this department. I feel like he's delivered, and I feel like I've delivered in trusting him to deliver. And if you trust me to continue to deliver, I'll make it work. You'll get what you're looking for, but I'm just asking for his pure appointment.
Let me just say that I'm not saying that someone who isn't qualified has to have the degree in order to do the job. There's plenty of different jobs that people get done. Brad is the perfect example. Brad worked here for how long? He didn't have certification. He made a great director. But I will say that we're not talking about the last two Parks and Rec directors, but the one before that, we hired him with the same premise. Oh, he works in Parks and Rec. He's able, he did this, this, and this. And then he came in and couldn't manage people at all. And that didn't work out. It was a huge failure. So that's why I say getting some managerial education and how to communicate with people, and not just his own employees, but other directors and other people that are employed in the city, and also getting that Parks and Rec. Zach's doing a great job, but maybe there's a whole part that he's missing because he doesn't have that training in Parks and Rec. So I still don't think it's a bad idea.
And I would only say that's on me. I'm the city manager of the city. I'm in charge of the directors of the department. If they're failing to perform or if they're not operating at their maximum potential, that's on me to make sure that happens. I fear additional requirements on top of something I feel are well met may run itself into attempting to administrate from council as opposed to just let me do my job and help him be successful, and you will get what you're looking for. And we will. Right now, I'm just 1,000% confident that we're only heading in a wonderful direction in Parks and Rec. I giggle when I walk through Radcliffe when I see how packed it is and how that kind of result doesn't happen by someone who can't do the job. And absolutely is a 100% in my best interest to help him be the certified manager that really shines for Garden City as he's already doing in the job, but let's get him the paper too, 100%. But
and don't take that as the intent that he either does this or doesn't get the job, or he either finishes or doesn't get the job. But I just don't think that continuing education is a bad thing to require of our directors.
100%.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Witt.
I'm going to start this off with, I am not amending my motion by any means with this, but I do agree with Tim wholeheartedly. Putting a requirement into his contract puts that undue stress on somebody who already does a lot of work, and I don't think it's necessary with the position that Mr. Gibbons is in, is if the performance isn't met from the job offer, a decision is made from that point. I've known Zach for many years. I've worked with Zach for many years, so it's not, I don't believe he can or can't do a job. I know he can, because I've seen his work ethic put in behind everything that he does. Sandalwood Parade, all of the different service groups and everything like that. And even with the amount of work he puts in, anytime you go talk to Zach, still has a smile on his face, happy to help any resident that walks up and asks a question. So, like I said, I'm not amending my motion whatsoever. I would like this to stay as is. If anyone likes to speak now, you're more than welcome to.
Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem Dole.
I too got to agree with the city manager as well as Zach and Councilwoman Carafota has some good points. But as we sit here at this table, we wasn't required any training.
Yes, we are.
Anything. Well, I took a couple of municipal courses, but prior to coming here, I have no education. I learned basically on the job. I'm not much of a talker, but every one of his team members will tell you they've seen a lot of me, especially in the last 6 months. I'm out there continuously, as well as hearing from the residents. I told Tim today, I work with U.S. Customs. I had a custom agent come down today, got 2 little girls, 3 and 5. He had nothing but praise about the Radcliffe Center, all the things that are available from a young kid to a senior citizen. Have I heard some bad things? Yeah, everybody talks bad about, it's just a human thing. It's hearsay. What I see is totally different. I see a young man that wants to build a career at this, hardworking, nonstop. I don't think we can get any better than that. He's a resident here. His family's here. That's all I got to say.
Further comments from the table?
Of course, Mayor.
Councilmember Dole.
I had my reservations at the beginning. I had many conversations with our city manager about it. And when I asked, let's make him interim for a little bit longer. Let's give him a little bit more time and make sure, put it on the table right now. I don't have a problem with this. I think it's fantastic. I believe Councilmember Karafotis, though, was looking at the city charter, and I don't think that it's a bad idea to require any of our directors to continue their education, and not to say your job depends on this, but just to make it part of, this is what you should be doing. Anybody in that field or in that position should be continuing their education. I do see that, he's been pursuing, I don't know if any of them are completed yet, but he's been pursuing different things. And I guess really all I have to say is the only reason I would vote no for Zach King to be Parks and Rec director at this point is if he fails to get hot dogs for the cafe. We've had lots of discussions about this. No, honestly, I mean, seriously though, there's always issues, and you try to work to resolve those. I do see the passion that Zach has for this city, that he's had for a long time. I honestly don't know. I think his life is just Garden City because the time that he puts into everything, like you said, I see him at Kiwanis. He's on our park committee. He was at Radcliffe Friday from I don't even know what time until close to 11 o'clock at night helping the Goodfellows with their event. So, I mean, I have a yes vote. My vote will be yes, definitely. And honestly, I don't know if it should be a hard and fast requirement, because I do the only reason I would say that is, yes, setting a precedent for the future. I do believe that Zach will do this. I have every belief that he'll do it. I have every belief that you'll kind of,
push him along.
And I would I'd offer council just to, when my performance review comes up, say, Tim, why aren't you making sure Zach gets this done?
Well, not Zach, but any director.
I would be, and actually
Yeah,
that feels
it's
the
not just
most
Zach.
appropriate funnel for making sure my department directors are achieving what council's looking for. Really, it really speaks to my review and what I'm doing. I just hate to put that, as we're talking about precedents, I'd hate to put it a precedent upon someone's job that they have to do something. And I know what we ask from our department directors. I can stress them out. So it's really on me to make sure he has the room and the ability to get the certifications we all want him to have. So I would ask council to give me, really just put it on me, put it on as how you evaluate my performance to make sure he gets those things you're looking for, rather than putting it contingent upon his job.
I didn't say contingent upon his job.
No, I know, contingent upon the evaluation of his performance. Really, it's on me to make sure he gets it, and trust me, if it's on me, I'm going to make sure he does it. So it's probably, I just feels a more natural funnel for council to direct the city manager to make those things happen.
I'm directing you to make it happen.
Got it?
Mayor?
Further comments? Councilmember Hughes.
Thank you. I've had several conversations with the city manager about this position for you. And he's all along, he's reassured me that mentoring will be happening and other opportunities to move you along and suit you, get you set up to the best he can for success. Because, I trust that the city manager wants the city to grow in this in what we offer, through Parks and Rec. And there's no reason not to want him to be successful. So I'm confident he will be, and I'm confident that you have all the tools in place to make him as successful as we can.
As of now, the motion is to approve Zach King as the Director of Parks and Rec. Further discussion on that?
Mayor,
Councilmember Karafotis.
is Dom voting?
What's that?
Is Dom voting?
I believe we were told he was allowed to.
The way the ordinance is written, I believe it allows him to. However, I'll let Council King speak for himself.
I do plan on abstaining just because of the perception. Talked to the city manager, talked to Tim, who talked to the city manager. I believe the charter did put this into consideration. That's why it's required an extra vote. However, I think it's still the right thing to do to abstain.
Thanks, Dom.
Comments from the public? Okay, Mr. Smith, take roll, please.
Councilmember Witt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Dold.
Aye.
Councilmember Karafotis.
Aye.
Councilmember Dold.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Abstain.
Councilmember Hughes.
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, item 12 is other business. Item A is boards and commissions attendance policy. Gibbons? Do you have anything on?
Thank you, Mayor. Guys, I was going to allow the clerk to speak on this. This was a topic that came up a number of months ago in regards to attendance of our board members. We're trying to make a workable policy that both acknowledges, one, these are volunteers unpaid, and it's difficult, and not everybody volunteers for these things, but we do want a certain accountability, so at least we understand we may have attendance issues. So this is a draft policy, really just a little bit of discussion, and then we'll take some of that feedback back and have one permanent. But ultimately, it's about surveilling and making sure our boards are being represented well, but also we have a welcoming environment for them to come back and serve on these boards because they're uncompensated. So we want volunteers, but we also need the work of the city to be done. So, and I'll let the clerk speak a little more on it as he drafted some of the portions that you'll be looking at.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So, City Manager Gibbons kind of summarized what I was about to say on that. So this is, we talked about this a couple months ago in terms of attendance policy and establishing it. And then it became, how do we balance, making sure that appointees are making these meetings with, we understand that they are volunteers and life sometimes gets in the way of things. Also, we're trying to work in all the various boards and commissions, rules and procedures that they have. So what is in front of you is just kind of a draft, nothing set in stone, but just kind of an idea of what we could potentially do to kind of establish some guidelines. So anyone that we appoint is familiar with, hey, if we're going to put you on a board and commission, these are the expectations. Because a lot of the boards and commissions kind of have, they're either silent towards how many meetings you can miss. Some do say 4 consecutive meetings or 25% in a year. But then also not all of our boards are the same. The Zoning Board of Appeals, ideally you don't want to have meet every month because then that means there's an issue with the ordinances and the way it's working. So they may only have 2 meetings a year, whereas planning meets regularly, DDA quarterly. So in front of you here is just kind of the purpose for why we would want to have an attendance policy across our boards. What would happen is they would have to report to council twice a year. We're thinking, July, start of the fiscal year, and January, the start of the calendar year. Here's our attendance for the year. These are the meetings that our members have attended. These are the ones that they have missed. And what would happen is if they go over their amount of permitted absences for, depending on how many times the board meets in the year, the chairperson could put it in writing to the city manager to get to city council. This is there's an absentee issue. These were the absences. This is why the absences occurred. Because we understand life does happen. The example I always use is I put myself in an example. Say, I'm in a car accident. I'm laid up for months. I'm missing meetings. It's not because I don't want to be here, I just can't physically be here. So it gives them the opportunity to say, yep, this member was absent this many times, but this is an issue that has resolved itself. He's back to attending normally. You know, we don't see this as an issue going forward. Or if it is a problematic absence where, hey, they're just not here at meetings, they've just, they don't let us know, then they can say, yep, we do see this as an issue. This is hindering the effectiveness of the board, and they will recommend through city manager to council either, no, we don't really see a need to take action at this time because the problem has rectified itself, it was a temporary thing, it's cleared up. Or if they say, no, something needs to be done, they can recommend council start the process to initiate removal from the board for excessive absenteeism. So that's kind of what's laid out there. Like I said, excused absences, it allows them, like, if I'm dealing with the issue, like I said, if I'm injured, it's like, hey, like, we're not gonna make him come in and drag himself in for this, but once I'm recovered, I missed 4 meetings at the start of the year, but now I'm good, I've hit all the other ones. That's, so kind of the way we've worded it is if they're missing due to illness or injury or something that couldn't reasonably be foreseen. It's like, this was not on my calendar, not on my agenda to get injured, but it happened. So, but this is, like I said, this is council can discuss it. This is just kind of what we put together, a template to get the ball rolling in terms of what you would like to see.
Anybody wishing on council to say anything?
Mayor?
Councilmember Karafotis.
It's kind of vague, and I'll say that that the whole reason that this got brought up, because there is someone on a board that actually missed like 16 out of 18 meetings. And they weren't in an accident, they weren't whatever. So to say, it's unexcused absences only, but if they just call prior to notification, that's the only unexcused, or it says for other good cause. That's pretty vague. If someone calls 16 out of 18 times and says, I can't make it tonight, that's, we're going to count all of those as excused just because they called prior. I think that's kind of lame.
If I could just explain part of the concept is all absences will be reported to council. They'll get a report every 6 months. So you can surveil it yourself as a council. However, leave it the autonomy of the board to decide, what they need for business. But then you can also add that extra layer of oversight so that once every 6 months, you're going to get a report with all the absences on them. And then if you see some that you're like, well, they're excused, but there's a lot, let me delve farther into this. So it adds a bit of surveillance for council, but also leaves the autonomy of the board to evaluate, are we able to continue business with what we have? Does someone get an illness that we didn't foresee that they're going to be remedied soon, and they understand that? And then that's part of what might be your inquiry when you see the report that would be resolved. But then if it's so many absences that we're on, then but I'll let Brian, he wanted to.
And that's also part of what's in here in terms of the absences on that report that you're getting. If they go over that number, is the report you're getting is the chairperson or their designee is putting in writing, the notation for the absence. And then they are making a recommendation. But it's kind of like when you get other recommendations from Planning Commission, like special land uses, things like that, there may be a recommendation that, hey, we don't think this is an issue, like we don't recommend, action, but if council sees the need for action, then you can,
I think that there's a need to solidify all the boards and commissions to have similar rules instead of all different. I mean, ours is different because we're elected officials, but I'm talking about our boards and commissions. You said that several of them are different. This one says if you miss 4, I think ours is if you miss 4.
I'll say this, most of the boards have rules in place already. Planning Commission, who you're, I think, probably speaking of the missing member, it says members of the Planning Commission may, after public hearing, be removed by the mayor, subject to the approval of the city council or as otherwise provided by state law for misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance in office. That's already in there.
No, I'm not asking
Our zoning board of
That's true for all the
appeals.
commissions.
No, I'm asking if we need to make all of those.
I get it, but I think this policy here is just duplicating items that we already have on the books. DDA has a policy. DBA, members may be removed for a cause by the mayor subject to approval by the city council or otherwise provided by state law. after consideration of written charges in a public hearing. We're just doubling up on
I was just asking why
policy
they're
that's
all
already in
different.
there.
I was just asking, the clerk stated they're all different. I'm
Right.
just asking, why don't we make them all the same?
Well, the date, the amount of meetings you can miss are different. But basically, all of them have a rule that state that they can be removed. The problem is, I see two problems, is you're putting this on a chairperson, of which it's hard enough to get people to volunteer to be on the board, let alone to be responsible for saying, so-and-so is not making things, I think they should be removed. You're putting more pressure on them. We have liaisons for all the boards that could be reporting this. Right now, I'm already looking, council members have already made announcements multiple times about we're looking for more volunteers. I think I could appoint 6 people right now to different boards that we have no volunteers for. I think that's part of the issue. The two probably biggest offenders of missing meetings have admitted that they've missed them and have said, if you can find somebody, go ahead and appoint them. But
What's the difference if they're not there anyway?
Okay, so we take them off, and then you take it,
What's the difference? If they're off or they're on, they're not there.
okay, well,
Mayor?
Councilmember King.
I understand what you're saying when reading the actual, the rules for those different commissions and boards, and there is a process for removal. However, I do like having a boards and commissions attendance policy, as kind of Brian mentioned, Mr. Smith mentioned, that it sets the expectation for the volunteer of what they need to, how many meetings they need to attend. I understand that life changes, job could change, health, or whatever it is, but at least they know what's expected out of them. I think it's a kind of a balancing act between being fair to the volunteer, but also fair to the residents, so they have proper representation on these commissions and boards. The Planning Commission is one of them. There's 7 members. However, most of the Planning Commission meetings I've watched, I've seen 4 to 5 there. I have not seen a full commission there in quite a while. And there's nothing against anybody. I don't know what their lives are. I don't know when they first joined the Planning Commission. Their situation might have been different. I think if this is good to set the expectation. I don't like the idea of just removing somebody without them knowing what the expectation was set for them.
But when they take that position, when they volunteer, they are informed of what they're expected. They're expected to be at the meeting. You don't volunteer for a board to say, oh, I'm not going to go. I just want to volunteer for it. Put me on there, and then I'm going to skip anyways. Things change, and I know 2 of them have jobs that have changed, and I'm not going to defend them because I've talked to them, and I've said if I can find somebody, I'm replacing you. But I can't find anybody, and the policy is already in place. We already have it. So this is just basically saying the exact same thing that's
We have a
already
removal policy, but we don't have an expectation set for them.
We don't have expectations set
The
up.
expectation would be, say, if you're missing, say, expectation is 3 meetings, you already missed 2. Then it's on the person to kind of negotiate, okay, well, shoot, do I really need to be at this 3rd one, or is this really something I can't commit to anymore?
It's a whole
It's kind
paper,
of
and it's
lengthy.
just-
I haven't actually, we just received it today, and to be honest, I haven't been able to read through it.
It basically states you're allowed X amount of if there's 4 meetings a year, you're allowed to miss X amount, unexcused, or excused. If there's 12 meetings a year, you're allowed to miss, per the draft, 3. That's basically it. And then it states that the board chairperson reports it to the council, which with the liaison, we should know it anyways, as we all know who's missing meetings and not missing meetings. So you're putting more on that person who half the time doesn't want to be the chairperson, but gets talked into it or volunteers. So I'm just saying, we already have the same thing that's on here is basically on here. So,
Mayor?
Oh, Mayor? So if I could, I think it is beneficial for the city to have a board and commission attendance policy. As you mentioned, it does lay out provisions throughout the ordinance on there. But the issue that I encounter with that is many of the boards, they can be removed, but it lays out, it can be removed for misfeasance, malfeasance, and a third feasance. I'm not exactly, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Feasance.
But that is the vagueness that, even if this is a little vague, but we can fine tune this, that's the kind of vagueness where it's like, if you're appointed to a board, what constitutes this? And I feel like by having a policy in place, anyone we appoint comes in with a clear expectation that they know this is what that means. Reading through the boards and commissions chapter in the ordinance, there's only the one, Parks and Rec is the only one I found in the ordinance that states specifically how many absences in a row you can miss and what percentage you can miss during the year. Other boards and commissions may have that in their bylaws and policies, but in ordinance, there's only one that identifies that clearly. Every other one's, it's just general. They can be removed by, after a public hearing by vote of council. So I think this, even if this isn't the final form that we adopt, which I'm all for if you want to make, this is just a suggestion, I think it would be good to have something in place with a definitive, defined expectation so we know, so when they know from first meeting on, this is what's expected of me. And like I said, the way it's written, it has carve-outs in here where if it's something extenuating, they don't have to.
We understand
fear. Life happens. But I think it's beneficial to the city to have defined expectations on this.
decide what's unreasonable and not unreasonable. You might think something's unreasonable, I might think it's okay.
Well, and we can fine tune that, but the way it's written here is the commission would make the recommendation. So commission might find it, that's reasonable. But like I said, that report is still coming to council. You're still going to see all those absences. And then they're going to make the recommendation. But if council disagrees with the chairperson, that's council's option. They don't have to, the board isn't saying, oh, we don't think, they're going to recommend, we don't think action's needed. But if you as a council think, no, action's needed on this, you have that option.
But again, that's, the liaison can bring that to the council or to me or whoever and say that my council, my board, I go to the planning commission and so-and-so is missing X amount of meetings, we need to do something. Now you're putting it on volunteers to judge their other volunteers. I think I can't get people now, and now you want them to start judging other people. I don't think that's right.
Mayor, I don't think that, why couldn't we just say, if you call in for an absence, what's your reason? You write it down, and that's the stuff. So it's not left to a chairperson or a secretary or anybody else on a commission or board to say, oh, was that good cause or wasn't it good cause? That would come before council if it was excessive absenteeism, and council would decide if that was good cause.
Sure.
Because that's
pretty
I
much.
had to ask, how many months ago was it when I asked, give me the absenteeism reports for every board and commission, and I brought that back to the council to not reappoint somebody because of absences. But I understand and I commend any resident that comes and volunteers to be on one of these boards and commissions. I was in charge of a group for many years that they were all volunteers on that board. But when and I also believe you can fire a volunteer. If you're going to volunteer to do something, then you should be all in when you volunteer to do that. You should understand absolutely everything that comes with that volunteering, what the expectations are of you. I know with the DDA for years, not this mayor, the mayor would go try to find people to sit on the DDA board, and this is what they were told. All you have to do is show up for a meeting once a month. all you got to do. Then they would come to the DDA board, and we would have a whole list of things that we wanted them to do. And, you know, luckily, that worked for a long time, but I'm a firm believer, if you're going to take the step forward to volunteer, then volunteer and do it right. And if they're not going to the meetings, it doesn't matter if their seat's empty or not. So.
Other comments from the table?
Mayor, I think City Clerk, Mr. Smith, did explain some things I had, but I think we're overstepping as council. We're overstepping our authority. The mayor appoints these, we just approve them. If there's an issue, it should come to the mayor. He should make that decision if he needs council support.
He has to have council support.
And we'll get him.
That's how it reads.
It reads that council says yes or no.
So we're just voting on this.
We're not voting on anything.
Attendance, which we already have.
Right.
A little confused
What we have
here.
here is basically already
Right.
here. We're just putting a number to it, or that's what.
We're not deciding anything tonight anyway. We're just.
No, we're not.
Just a draft
This is just a discussion. But I'm just saying, we have basically what's on the draft already in our ordinances for the boards. It's just that we're defining it more, we're putting more regulations on something I don't believe we do.
We're putting numbers on
I know the
something.
two, right, we're putting numbers to it. Again, I know that there's certain members that miss, and trust me, if I had people, I've already stated to them that they wouldn't, I'd be replacing them. So putting it on this paper isn't going to do anything to change that.
We have it on the Parks and Rec one. He just said the Parks and Rec is the only one that has that number on there.
It has numbers, but it has if you have unexcused, if you're not doing your job, basically is what these ordinances state. The mayor, with council approval, has the right to remove them. And
Well, I just think the problem is that in the past, we've talked about, this is like the 5th time we've talked about people not showing up in meetings. And by not,
how many people have applied since then? Zero.
and those people have been to 0 meetings since we started talking about it. So again, we keep talking about it, we're not trying to solve it in any way.
But again, this paper's not solving it. We're still going to be missing people.
It is setting expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Setting expectations that you're going to come to the meetings, and that if you
I
have so many
believe, I know,
absences, you're not.
again, I know the two that did, one got moved to afternoons, so he cannot make after the evening meeting.
Then let's replace him. If he can't
With
come.
who?
If he's not coming anyway, what's the difference?
Right.
If he can't come, then
We
why
got a
is he on
piece
the
of
board?
paper that says he's not coming in.
If he can't come, why is he on the board? If you just said he switched the afternoons, he can't come to any meetings, why is he still on the board? That makes no sense.
Who do you want to replace him with?
He's not there anyway. You don't replace him with anybody. What's the
Maybe,
difference?
maybe he's off a couple, whatever. Okay, it's a
I'm just
discussion.
saying. He's asking to see if we can have expectations to say to our volunteers, hey, we want you to come to 12 meetings. If you can make it for 9, that would be great. It's just an expectation for people to volunteer.
Further comments from the table?
Mayor.
Councilmember Witt?
I mean, this one's a tough one, just being, I can see both sides of the issues. I understand putting an expectation into place, but I also see what the mayor is talking about with, we're putting all this extra expectation on the one person on the board to put it in. So like, I mean, it definitely needs tweaking from what it's at, and obviously that's why there's a big red letters at the top that says draft. And I'm sure we're gonna continue talking about this as it goes. But also to the mayor's point, like I get nobody's filling out the paperwork to come volunteer for these boards. So yes, having a member that's not showing up to meetings, yes, that's understandable. Life happens. We've kind of went this run around this whole time. But the same thing, if we remove him and then we just have nobody who's going to put in, who maybe, either of these two people might have an evening off where they can come to a meeting for once.
16 out of 18 times.
I get it. Like I said, I'm on both sides of this. It's a tough one either way you look at it. But the chance that he could potentially come to those meetings, if we now remove that seat, well, one meeting that could have a quorum to where one meeting wouldn't have a quorum because we now no longer have that member that could potentially show up. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword.
I do agree with him.
There's also the issue, though, if that seat remains filled, then nobody's actively looking to replace it with someone who's going to attend the meetings.
Because we had that
Filled
quorum.
seat, so nobody's looking to fill that seat. And I have to say, all of us sitting up here, and even everybody sitting out there and watching this tonight, everybody knows people. Talk to people. Think about what people that you know that have certain skill sets and where we might need them, and, go talk to them. And, I never dreamed I was going to do this 5 years ago, so.
Yeah. So let me add, Mr. Smith, do we still take applications even if all board seats are filled?
Yes, yep, so
So we still get them either way?
If somebody applies for a board that is currently filled, we still hold on to the application. Sometimes they put in applications for 2 or 3, and luckily one of them is one that we have an opening for. So it's like, this may not have been your first choice that you put in for, but you did indicate this one. Would you be interested in that?
So if you get an application, say, for the Parks and Rec Commission, and there's no seats available, it just sits there. Nobody's looking to go, well, you know what? This volunteer right here didn't come to, they only came to 2 meetings this year. The
I'll
seat is
disagree with that
filled.
because usually when he gets an application for a position, he gives it to me. So if I know that I've got somebody on a board that's not making things, like I said, I've already told people that if you're not going to show, if I get a person that's qualified, I'm going to replace you.
I don't know. I've talked to people that have been requested to put in multiple applications for the same board, but we're told continually that those applications are kept and reviewed as those positions become available, and that was not the case. So I'm not sure how that happened. I'm just saying, I'm glad we do keep them, but somehow it kind of fell through the cracks. But
As long as I've known, as much as I know, they come into the clerk's office, he shows me what he has, what they applied for, and then
well, that's good that there's a system there. I
Mayor?
wasn't aware.
I do want to say, I do agree with you that it shouldn't be the person on the board that's a volunteer that says one way or the other. It should just be brought to council with an attendance record.
Mayor? Just
Councilman.
one more comment I just want to make. My expectation, and I don't think the policy, I didn't read this policy through, is not automatic removal or anything like that. Just set the expectation and let anybody who volunteers know that attendance is important to the city. If you're going to sign up for that role, attendance,
Well, in under B at the bottom, there's a public hearing and they can address to the city council. I happened to read it before the meeting came through, but they'll be able to state their case at a council meeting when it would come up for removal.
before removal,
So,
public hearing, they
Right, it wouldn't be an automatic removal, of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
But, the other thing to consider is that somebody that misses a majority of the meetings, they miss 4 meetings in a row, they come to that 5th meeting and there's an important vote that's taking place. They get to vote, and they just missed the 4 meetings prior where discussion and everything else was around, it's a possibility. I'm not saying that always happens, but you
does.
can't be well-informed if you're not coming to the meetings, yet especially like with the Planning Commission, they have a power behind their votes. Not all the commissions necessarily, do, but you're not there, and then you come in and, oh, okay, you can vote. You don't know what you're voting about, but go ahead and vote.
they should know what they're voting on for
Good.
the simple fact that they get their packet. Usually the planning commission's they get theirs
I
sooner.
just threw them out. I
Right.
wasn't
Yeah, I know.
speaking. Please,
But I mean,
please,
most
Planning
of them-
Commission.
well, and,
Most
Just
of
in
them,
general, you're not there for discussion is what she means.
well,
right.
and most, if not all, of the boards are recorded. So yes, they might miss 4 consecutive meetings, but they can also review those meetings.
They can.
Like I said, double-edged
They're
sword.
there, we know.
Double-edged sword both ways. I'm just saying that the possibility is there on both sides. So yes, anything can happen with it. But I'm glad it's a draft. I'm glad we can still work on this and figure it out more, so.
Okay. Anybody else with a further comment on this? All right, we'll move on to C, Click Fix reporting. Our new Parks and Rec Director, Mr. King.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I was asked to speak a little bit about C-Click Fix, the new application we launched earlier this year. There are a few different reporting techniques you can do from C-Click Fix. The main 3 are the number of requests submitted in a time period, the response time to acknowledge those requests, and then the response time to close the request by the staff. Currently, C-Click Fix is live. We do have an application, actually a Garden City branded application that is also live right now that you could download, the City of Garden City. From there, you can report concerns on SeeClick Fix. We are working on some marketing campaigns throughout the summer about advertising the application and such. There is no difference when reporting a concern from last year to this year. You still go to the same website. If you go to gardencmi.org/fixit, you're going to find just a more user-friendly form than that was there before, and also a form that allows you to easily upload not only your location, but the photos. And sometimes that location, you know, trying to describe where it's at is a lot easier just to put a pinpoint, especially in our parks and especially on our roads. When there's not necessarily an address to pinpoint a location, being able to put that address really makes it easier for our residents to report concerns. So those are the benefits of SeeClick Fix. While pulling some of the stats, I was actually surprised on how well requests are being closed and such. So far in April last month, we had 174 requests submitted. For that month alone, within 5 hours was the average time to acknowledge a request. So a staff member already responded to a person within the 5 hours. And then all those requests on average were closed within 2 days of the request. Meaning a request put on Friday was closed before staff came in Monday. Year to date, there was 588 requests submitted on SeeClick Fix, and all time there's 688 requests. Already in May, we've had 125 submitted. We are seeing an increase in requests, as expected when it's easier to make a request, and we're promoting it. There will be an influx of those requests, so we are seeing more than previous years on the physical form. So there's a lot of different ways to show that information, especially in the reporting. And like I said, those 3 most common reports that SeeClick Fix does offer, easy for us to see all the departments and anyone that logs into. The number of requests, the response time to acknowledge the request, and response time to close the request. I don't know if there's any questions on SeeClick Fix.
I have one, too.
Councilmember Karafotis.
Residents always ask this, can it be anonymous?
Yes, it can be. Well, it depends on the request type. There are some request types that require, but if for some reason you really want to stay anonymous, you can go in the other category and then still submit your request. And it will actually ask you, even if you sign in, even if you create an account, and even if you want to keep track, at the very end it still says, do you want this to be anonymous or do you want to be known? And choosing that is what we can see. And then if we respond to that request, even if you're anonymous, you will get the notification that we responded. A lot of times, they do ask to be anonymous, but it's times that we need to know their information, like if they're reporting their trash can wasn't picked up, or stuff like we need to know your address. So a lot of times we'll have to reply and say, like, we're not able to help unless we know where your address is. And then they actually can respond, again, anonymously, but their address. So it is the system is made for that and allows them to do that.
Okay, and then just so residents know, who answers the request?
Pretty much all the city departments. I know a lot of requests are received by the information desk, the police, the commands, all of them, and then Public Works.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor?
Councilmember King.
I just want to mention, I actually used the service not too long ago for a pothole. It was super easy, only took me a few minutes. It was nice that I could attach a picture, and then I could see, like within a few minutes actually, the city had received it, they had already moved it over to GPS, and I think within a day or so, they had the pothole taken care of. Regarding the reporting, I think you already mentioned a couple of them that I had thought of, I think would be good for council to see on a regular basis. I think you said total requests submitted versus closed, average completion time, I think you mentioned was the 5 hours, open overdue requests, and then I know it's relatively new service, but maybe after the year, see our top issue categories and hotspot areas. It would like to know where we're seeing a lot of SeeClick Fix come in a certain part of the city, and what's our top category, where we maybe have to put more resources towards, or and that kind of thing. Regarding the reporting, is there a site we can go to see this stuff, or is it pretty much you would have to create it and print it out and distribute to the council?
Anyone with a staff login can sign in and see there's interactive dashboards in the application, but then we can also export those reports and share them that way as well.
Okay.
So currently, any staff member in the system does have access to all the reporting and dashboards.
Other comments,
Mayor?
questions? Councilmember Hughes.
Thank you. I, too, used the service, and I had a similar experience as Councilmember King. It was efficient, worked fast, it was easy to use, upload photos, so it worked as it should. So, thank you.
Good to hear.
Other comments? Questions? Okay, no other business. We'll go to public comment. This is for non-agenda items only. 3 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak? Mr. Hunt.
I wrote this one down tonight so we don't get anything wrong. I'm here to ask Mayor Jacobs and council, if you put a resolution together, I know it's a late notice tonight, to keep Rashida Tlaib away from attending our Memorial Day service. Right off of her own website, she's introduced a bill to pull $168 billion, with a B, dollars, away from our military, our men and women that served and died for our country, pull away from them to give to the homeless, to take away the ability for our police department to do anything to those homeless. She comes here each year, shows up about 2 minutes before the ceremony's over with so she can get a picture with you, and then heads on down the road. I know she's got money for Radcliffe. I know she got money into the city before. But right now, she's looking to give that money to fund a living wage of $25 minimum and free internet to the homeless. To fund encampments. This is on her website. This is her paperwork that she sends out. Fund encampments. Police wouldn't have any ability to go to any business, any city property, any city street and do anything with these homeless. They can't touch them if she could get this pushed through. I don't believe it'll get pushed through, but this is supposedly our representative, along with a few other representatives that, as you call for them at each and every meeting, none of them are here. If there's $25 available for a living wage, I bet you there's a whole lot of seniors in this city that would love to have that for their Social Security. I know I would. That's a whole lot more than anybody is getting in their Social Security, and I don't know where it's supposedly supposed to come from. But this woman could care less about our fallen troops that have given all for our country and does not deserve to attend a service honoring those heroes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Public comments? Go ahead.
Hi, Lauren Anthony, Marquette Street. I just wanted to encourage our council to not go against our right to freedom of speech, our right to have our representatives that we voted into office not at our events, just because some people are kind of upset about the fact that they lost at the election. I'm also a little concerned about the wording of our police officers doing things to the homeless. I don't believe our police officers do that. I think that was incredibly disrespectful to our police, honestly, to imply that our police are doing things to homeless and that they should be, getting rid of them or something, or getting them out of places. If you actually cared about veterans, you would know how many of them are homeless and how important it is for us to be taking care of our homeless, how important it is for us to be having a living wage, for people to be taken care of in our society. We live in a society, we should all be taking care of each other, and we should not be trying to do some weird little morality thing up at a city council meeting just because you're really angry that there's a Muslim woman that's in the position of authority over you when it comes to our representation. So I want to thank you guys, because I am confident you are not going to go against anybody's rights and actually stop her from attending our Memorial Day service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Jones.
Just wanted to say thank you for the Lucky Squirrel event that we just had this last weekend. It was really great, and I want to commend you for putting that on and doing such a good job. I'm glad that the garage sale, St. Thomas Aquinas is advertised that they're going to have one the same weekend, and I assume that they're on your list.
Perhaps, but if they're not, have them come by June 1st.
Okay. And it's still almost a month away, but Autos for Autism is one of the biggest events in this city in terms of attendance and the good that it does. On June 15th, I urge everybody to attend.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Mr. Molnar.
Wish you hadn't said that crap about the representatives. They're all a bunch of damn cowards. Toshiba went to Oakland County to protest ICE and get Oakland County to vote not to let ICE in Oakland County.
Order.
I'm from Vietnam area. Not about me, about my brother. My brother went to Vietnam, come under fire, fired back. First thing out of the sergeant's mouth, we're in trouble because you fired your gun. People call us baby killers, murderers. So when you talk about homeless people, no policeman's going to rough up a homeless person. They're going to help them. Like the police in this city always help everybody, regardless, no matter how you feel about them. You can cuss them, call them whatever you want to, and they're still going to try to help you. But I am sick and tired of people like Rashida, and now they got the Haley Stevenson running around, running a commercial, wanting to protect the illegals. Murderers, thieves, and everything else came over. Nobody screened them. This is hard for me. Because for years after my brother came home, he had problems. He had bad problems. I get so damn mad at people when they do stuff like this, and when they try to protect illegals. It irritates me. Everyone of them that crossed the border illegally should be deported. They're not American citizens. They invaded the United States of America, and the National Guard stood by, or the Border Patrol had to stand by and watch the National Guard get attacked when they come in that wave that time, and was ordered not to stand down. So all this bull of these representatives, the state, federal, and none of them show up here until it's election time, or they want to get their paper. I can't hardly talk about this. I've got to tell you the truth. It really upsets me. I'm trembling. I'm going to shut up because I don't want to go off too bad.
Thank you. Thank you for your service also. Further comments from the public? Okay. City Manager's report.
Nothing much to say, just Mayor, just congratulations to our new Parks and Rec Director. And I want to express, like, I think when the Public Watches Council debate an issue, I just find that to be healthy and very productive because we get to see all the different perspectives, and they're not all the same. And I think that's very good for us. It helps give us, as administration, direction. And it's not always the same. We have to pick, how to proceed. And it's just, sometimes people watch and think because they have different opinions that it's not going well. I actually see it the opposite way. I enjoy seeing a diversity of opinions. It helps me, myself, develop the best policy. That's, our Constitution is founded upon freedom of speech, which is hearing the other side. And when we hear the other side, we temper our own beliefs and we make better decisions. So whether it's in public comment or whether it's at the table tonight, hearing everybody speak and hearing their thoughts and opinions, I just super beneficial. And I just, even as we debated the boards and commission attendance policy, I just find it healthy that we have these robust discussions. So it gives us the best chance of going forward positively. So thank you, Council. Good night.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Just one thing tonight is I just want to pass along congratulations to new Parks and Rec Director King. I just want to let council know that clerk's office, we kind of consider ourselves Google for government. We get a lot of questions about going on in the city, and I know if we get a question that I don't know the answer, the first call I make is generally to Zach, because he is Mr. Garden City and he will know the answer. So congratulations.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Dole.
Include businesses, new businesses that have opened. On several occasions where I'm talking to residents and they tell me about this business.
Can you turn your mic on?
I have no idea that it was open.
Yeah, we can do that. Generally, in the department report that you receive from the clerk's office, it's in that top heading in terms of the number of new businesses, and I try to list the names of the new businesses that opened in the last month, but I can put like a name and address in there going forward.
That'd be helpful. Thank you. I also like to thank the residents for attending our Goodfellas fundraiser. The Drag Queen Bingo was a big success. To assure that no child in Garden City goes without a Christmas. Thank you all. To Zachary King, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Sorry.
Councilmember Hughes.
Thank you. I want to congratulate our new Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Zachary King. Thank you so much for stepping up and working very visibly, very hard for the city. And I appreciate all that you've done, and I look forward to you growing in this position and continuing to serve the city as best you can.
Thank you. Councilmember Witt.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mr. Gibbons said, you know, productive government's always good government, and what happened tonight is productive government. So as what it is, you know, I appreciate everyone up here, and we do work together really well. We might butt heads every once in a while, but, you know, we definitely, you know, put our heads together to get everything going the way we think it needs to be going. So the other thing, obviously, congratulations, Zach. Well-deserved. Look forward to having you in the position and getting going. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember King.
Thanks, Mayor. A question for Mr. Gibbons regarding the Blight Court. Now the weather's warming up quite a bit. I get questions. I know you just talked about it not too long ago, but I didn't know if you had any update.
We are working very quickly in that direction. I anticipate it up and running by this summer, during the summer. You know, our ordinance division is out actively enforcing, but at the same time, we're working on that transition. Like I said, I anticipate it this summer.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Mr. Gibbons. And also, congratulations, Mr. King.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Dole.
I wanted to bring up the city charter. It's been brought up a lot of times. It's outdated. There's a lot that needs to be fixed in it, and I understand that some of it we can do at this level. Some of it has to go out to be voted on. So with a vote coming up, an election coming up in November, I'm thinking maybe now's an opportune time to start reviewing the city charter and making recommendations what we need to see changed.
I believe there's a specific procedure for those type of things, and I can have the clerk put together of how that gets started and what needs to be accomplished. But yeah, largely the charter is by vote of the people. Mm-hmm. So we could establish I'll meet up with the clerk and we can establish a process for addressing that.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to do that. I also wanted to thank all the residents, all our volunteers, and of course the staff over at Radcliffe for our event Friday night. It was a big success, and honestly, we could not have done it without the staff over at Radcliffe. We're all getting old on that committee. It's hard work. The Mother's Day luncheon over there was great. I want to congratulate Zach.
Excuse me. We're having trouble.
I want to congratulate Zach on his position, but I also want to congratulate his mom and dad, because apparently they did a good job raising that boy. So congratulations to you guys. And I want to say too, you know, Vietnam was a black mark on this country's history when those soldiers came home. that's nothing that we can go back and fix, unfortunately. And I think that most American citizens now, their thinking on that has changed. I know myself, I will go out of my way to thank people for their service, our men and women, whether they were in Vietnam, Iraq, wherever. I know that Councilmember Dole, I'm pretty sure probably everybody in here does that on a regular basis. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. But I do want to just say, this is what makes America. This is what makes a democracy. If you don't like somebody that's in office, don't vote for them. And that's your say. That, your vote is in your pocket, whether it's us, whether it's at state level, whether it's federal level. That's really all I had. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Karafotis.
Just to reiterate some of the same things, Mr. Molnar, thank you for your service. Regarding our police department, I think that we have one of the most generous and kind police departments when it comes to helping homeless.
Yeah.
We absolutely are not doing anything to our homeless to discourage them or not be very helpful to them. Every time that I've talked to any of our police officers about our homeless, they've been very kind and accommodating. With the Blight Court, that's not going to be happening until the new attorney starts, correct?
Yeah, that's one of our...
when do they start?
Our new city attorney has just got to work out the logistics of their start date. I had a conversation today, assuming an appointment went well today. We're going to meet with our current city attorney to begin the transition.
Okay. Also, regarding our police department, we did get some monthly reports, and I see the month of April, just about every kind of crime we have in Garden City went down for that month. So I just want to say thank you very much. We do live in a very safe city. We may have high water bills, but nobody has crime. Also, our fire department answered 1,200 calls in the month of April, with over 330 of them helping people in some way. So that's amazing that we can do all those things. I just wanted to echo what Councilwoman Dolt said about our charter. There are so many important things in our charter that needs to be changed. Some examples, it still says the library is a department, still says our city manager has to reside in our city. It still says that the council decides employee salaries instead of that they're actually negotiated contracts. That needs to change. There's a lot of things about zoning in there that we need to change, and I think that's something that we really need to get on top of, especially since November's coming soon. Maybe that's something we can have a workshop on, like some of our council can read through the charter and say, hey, there's this, 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 and this. I mean, Brian can't do it all by himself. So just a thought. I do also think it's very healthy to have a council that disagrees. 7 heads are better than 1, and when everybody is agreeing and everybody's a yes vote all the time, that's not how it's supposed to work. So, and I know that because I'm always the one that says no. I did also want to get an update where we are with our master plan. I keep asking about it. We talked about getting the Planning Commission, getting better resources for the information that we're getting. Is it time to talk about getting a different company to do our master plan? This is 2026, halfway through, and the last time we did our master plan was 2010. We are far behind, and I would really like to make that something important that we finish before the end of the year. No pressure on Matt Miller. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. I have a few things to talk about, mostly all good. Corwin Classic had their softball tournament a weekend ago, and just like the boys' baseball, great turnout, well attended. Seemed like all the girls had a lot of fun, and again, ran great by GCYAA. Just another good thing, another cap in the city's hat. Another event this past weekend, Garden City Figure Skating Club put on their show, and Emily and Angela, the two main head coaches, instructors, did a phenomenal job. There's some pictures of it. So cute. They go from very little kids to, they get the parents involved also, which is kind of entertaining watching most of them because they can't skate. But it's just a wonderful display. They do a tremendous job. And Mike Downey, Zach King, and the rest of the staff, they just do a phenomenal job with the arena and getting it ready. And The kids just do a fantastic performance. The American Legion Auxiliary is having their poppy sales for Memorial Day, and those sales will take place on May 22nd, 23rd, and 24th from 12 to 6 in the parking lot of the American Legion. And donations are accepted for those. So if you get a chance those days, that weekend, stop by, pick up some poppies, and make a donation. I would like, on a sad note, I would like to give condolences to the Ralco family. Lost a family member. He was with GCYA a long time ago. Moved up with the state with Maha, and he passed away last weekend also. So condolences to the Ralco family. And last but not least, Memorial Day on Monday at 11 a.m. We will have our service out on the front lawn. I encourage everybody to come out, pay your respects to our veterans. We owe them a lot. They've done a lot to give us what we have today. So I encourage everybody that has some free time or make some free time at 11 a.m. right here at City Hall. Everybody is welcome. Having said all that, I will take a motion for a closed session.
Mayor.
Councilmember Witt.
The time is now 9:01 PM, and I would like to make a motion to move into closed session for strategy and negotiation session connected with the negotiations of a collective bargaining agreement pursuant to MCL 15.268C related to contract negotiation with Command Officers Association of Michigan, COAM, and Technical Professional and Office Workers Association of Michigan, TPOAM.
Support.
Support from Mayor Pro Tem Dold. Mr. Smith, if you take roll call, please.
Councilmember Witt?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Dold?
Aye.
Councilmember Karafotis?
Aye.
Councilmember Dold?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Hughes?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye. At this time, we are in adjournment or recess to go into closed session. Okay, at this time, I will take a motion to go back into session.
Mayor,
Councilmember Witt.
the time is now 9:59 PM. I'd like to make a motion to return to open session.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Hughes. Mr. Smith, if you take roll call, please.
Councilmember Witt?
Aye.
Councilmember Hughes?
Aye.
Councilmember Karafotis?
Aye.
Councilmember Dold?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Dold?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye. Okay, I think a motion for, to accept the closed session.
No, it's just discussion. We don't have to do
It was
anything.
just an update on the progress of the negotiations.
Okay, then with no further business, this meeting is adjourned.